Wow, it's time for another show full of tips and ideas from the sales growth leadership expert, Dean Akers. Known for his experience in hyper-growing companies and creating cultures for high-performance teams, here's Dean.
Well, welcome to episode 60. Obviously, I like these good round numbers. Last week we were shooting out of New York City. Had a great time up there. This week's going to be kind of interesting. You always need these kind of brush-ups or these kind of revelations back to yourself. And some of my ninjas this week, we were going through some of their strategies and stuff. And as I was asking them questions, I got a lot of, I'm blah blah blah, just stuttering. And what I found was we had fallen off some of our good habits. Now they're still doing really well, and they're killing it and making lots of money, and the teams I work with are continually improving every day. But it caused me to reminisce a little bit about what we're really talking about. And the title of today's show is brushing your teeth. And somebody would go, "What are you talking about, Dean, brushing your teeth?" Well, what it has to do with is I would suggest to most of you that are listening that when you get up in the morning or go to bed at night, out of habit, you brush your teeth. And you were taught that when you were young. You build it into your habit. You allocate the time to wash your face, brush your teeth, do whatever you do each day. And when you're brushing your teeth and stuff, you're generally doing that as a specific, isolated event in your day. And what it is, it's become a habit, a hygiene habit, or something good that you know that if you take care of your teeth, you're going to have, a great life of being able to eat, all that other, smile, and all the other good things. So we know we create good habits, and those habits are important to the quality of our life. We know that. So the same thing are true to be successful. To be a successful leader or salesperson, it's about developing good habits that are kind of what I call brushing your teeth, things you do every day. Most of the CEOs I meet with, when I sit down and talk with them, it's like a Chinese fire drill. They're always off to another fire, and they're always, just stressing about what's not going right, getting things done. And when we sit down and ask them if they've worked on their business, the answer is usually no. We'll sit down and say, okay, you're having this problem with that group of people. If I was to sit down with them and ask them that you've outlined the specifics you want, and oh, by the way, the new people that have joined have a method of seeing that and trained on that, would they all go, oh yeah, absolutely, they've been doing that with me, I just don't do it. Well, that's where I get these blank stares, and they go, what are you talking about? And I said, have you outlined, in other words, not a big old book of your HR book, but have you outlined their daily thing and how to be successful? So it's almost like a checklist, or teaching them or coaching them. And the answer I usually get is no. So what I'm talking about in all this is needing to understand your time and the processes you do and the things you set up that make you successful and allow you in your same 24 hours a day to accomplish a lot more than the people around you, your competitors, other companies, or other individuals. So I also want to throw out one other phenomena that I've noticed in the last couple of weeks with some of the folks I try to work with, and it's called perfectionism. And I found also, along with this creating great habits, perfectionism can get in the way of getting these great results. So if you sat there and think about it, people work so hard to do things right that sometimes they never do anything. And I'm reminded of my own books. By the way, that book is available to anybody that wants it. It's Self-Talk, Think Like a Child. I've been sending it out to people, and people are just reaching out and asking for it at help@adjunctceo.com. That's help@adjunctceo.com. And by the way, you can reach out to me at help@adjunctceo.com anytime with a question. I'll get back with you. I'm always eager to help anybody that takes the time that wants to learn and grow. So perfectionism can be the killer in getting results too. And again, my book, the reason I joke about it is I've had people read it and said, Dean, we found some grammar errors, and I wrote it, and candidly, I'll tell you, I'm a probably a poor writer. And you can make the argument that would say, well, I'm a poor writer, so I'm never going to write a book. I said, I'm a poor writer, but I'm going to write a book. And hopefully it'll have meaning. And I've had so many people tell me what they've gotten out of it as far as the meanings of it, that it's been very helpful. And that makes me happy. Are there grammar errors in there? Yes. In fact, I had one person go, well, I can't believe, I'd never write you've got all these grammar errors. And I asked him, I said, well, how did you do with your first and second book? And they looked at me, they go, well, I've never written a book. And I said, exactly. So perfectionism also can be a killer in getting your results and setting up time and habits. So what am I talking about? What I'm really talking about is allocating literally 10 minutes a day. So I meet with folks all the time, and we'll meet and they'll go, well, I just don't have time, Dean. And I'm reminded of the habit of brushing your teeth, things you do every day that take time that you would really not even think second about eliminating from your daily habits of self-hygiene, different things you do. And so what I do is, for myself, and this is how I wrote my book, and this is how I accomplish things, because, man, I'm all over the place, and you can probably tell that when you listen to this podcast. And by the way, thanks again. Shout out to everybody that's listening all over the world. It means a lot to me when I get those, when I get the emails at help@adjunctceo.com with the questions, comments. That's why I get out of bed in the mornings to do this, is to help. But here's how I do it, and here's how I teach my ninjas to do it. When you're frustrated, you've got something you want to get done, just get your iPhone or something similar and just hit it on for 10 minutes. And what happens is it'll click down. And all you do is, while it's clicking down, you work on that specific set of things you want to do, and you can do it every day. Well, 60 minutes a day translates into 60 hours a year. And, that's a lot. I mean, or 10 minutes a day. I'm sorry. 10 minutes a day translates to 60 hours a year. So that discipline will allow you. And when I sit down and we look at the math on it, and I say, well, how would you do if you had 60 hours to do this? They go, oh, well, 60 hours, I could do it easily. Then I said, well, then let's do the 60 hours. Let's do that 60 hours, 10 minutes at a time. Now, when this 10-minute buzzer rings, what I want you to do is wrap up what you're doing literally then or in a couple seconds, or to close it out. The reason is it makes you disciplined in managing that 10 minutes so that you don't get overwhelmed later and say, I don't have time to work on this again. Every time I set that 10-minute timer, I work 2 hours on it. So get just used to using this timer of the 10 minutes. It totally works. So what I want you to do this week is get your iPhone or your Droid out, take it out, take 2 or 3 things that are really critical to you to making you successful. It could be writing your handwritten notes. It could be making the extra phone calls. It could be outlining a strategy or the ops for your people that you're frustrated don't get it. And you just handwrite it and give it to somebody to produce for you. But work 10 minutes a day and get in the habit of creating this 10-minute a day exercise for you, not for me, not for anybody else. And I will assure you that if you develop this strategy of using 10 minutes a day and creating this habit, you'll see infinitely greater results out of your future endeavors. So let's get out there. Let's create that task, that 10 minutes a day, and let's just sit back and say, hey, we're going to brush our teeth to be more successful. Talk to you soon.
We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Subscribe today to our podcast and send questions or thoughts to help@deanakers.com. Also, visit us at www.deanakers.com to listen to prior shows and view helpful videos. Also, great tips to download. Thanks again. See you next week.